Jazz, you see that 125-point mark?
That's a lot.
The San Antonio Spurs, they've given up 125 points in their last 4 games. They've lost each of those. Here's Greg Popovich following this loss.
Utah had a big advantage on the boards in the paint tonight. Talk about that from the coach.
Well, you're correct.
How did they get that big advantage on it?
They jumped higher. They were more physical. You know, you're asking me things that are tough to answer.
How do you keep the guys?
It's like saying, why did you not shoot well? Because they didn't go in.
With the injuries and the losing streak, how do you keep the guys' heads up and moving forward?
It's our job. You just go play the next game. There's no time for sulking or anything like that. You know, Utah played better than we did. They executed better, and they made fewer mistakes over a 48-minute stretch, and they won the game. You know, the team that plays best wins.
Is there anything going on with the second quarter, guys? Golden State had the last 3 minutes, Portland got 39. Tonight, Utah did 39 too.
Not necessarily.
And I was talking earlier about how going through this stretch, it's important to keep guys camaraderie and keep guys tight. How important do you think that is to make sure the group in there is still upbeat?
I would think it's important.
How important?
As opposed to the opposite.
That's true.
That's silly. Come on. It's always important to be upbeat and to stick together.
Oh, during this rough time.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
Losing Rudy before the game, is that kind of a deep play?
It doesn't matter who's hurt or who didn't play. Nobody cares about that. All they care about is winning and losing. So Utah deserved the game. They played better. They executed better than we did. They were more physical than we did, and they won the game.
You expect him back in Memphis?
I don't know.
May I ask you
Sure.
about Jakob Poeltl? How would you describe his development?
He's doing a fine job. He's learning on the fly. He needs experience, but we're trying to give him the minutes so that he can get more and more comfortable. But he's very willing, very intelligent, and he's going to end up being a good player.
So, Pop, not in a good mood, and maybe that's because this rodeo road trip has not started very well for them.
That's pop, 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 pop.
4 times.
That's 4 pops.
Yeah, 4 losses in a row. They got one
You know
more
what comes next,
before-
right? Fizz. That means more losses.
Then they got 3 after the All-Star break. So the Spurs also sliding in the Western Conference standings. This game significant because the Utah Jazz now have a game up on San Antonio. But one thing that Utah did in this particular game that they aren't very great at this season, shooting the outside shot. They're 24th in the league percentage-wise from outside, but they hit 19 three-pointers against the Spurs.
Tonight, excellent ball movement, and you talked about earlier where Donovan Mitchell is starting to find his stride. For me, Karan, where Donovan Mitchell had such a good year and it kind of surprised people. So now those great assistant coaches we always talk about, they have all these computers and laptops on the bench, well, they went home and put a defensive game plan for Donovan Mitchell. So it's taken him a couple months to say, okay, the double team's coming this way. When I drive right, they're sending an extra big guy to show this. So now his patience, this last month or two for me, is showing me that he's starting to watch more film and he's starting to find his groove.
And also, I think the addition of Kyle Korver, having a shot maker like that, Ingles starting to make shots and being more aggressive on the perimeter. So when those shots fall, instead of gapping him, now you're able to have more real estate. So when them shots fall right there, you got to stay honest on the defensive end of the floor. And then it creates more options and opportunities for Donovan Mitchell, where he's able to pass, facilitate. And then when he gets to going downhill and zigzagging with the basketball, he's able to be creative. He can go for shots for himself, or obviously he can go and facilitate for others.
Certainly the floor seems like it's opened up when the Utah Jazz are hitting outside shots. They seem like a team you can really trust in the postseason, but Rudy Gobert playing with a vengeance. He seems like a guy that's like, oh, I wasn't selected for the All-Star team. Got a little bit of slack for crying in that emotional moment for him, but we're seeing him show some of those emotions on the court in an efficient way.
Yeah, Rudy, don't feel bad. You just show that you're emotion, that you're a human being. We all have them. But offensively this year, the picking and rolling to the basket, getting more alley-oops. And every so often this year, they'll throw the ball down to him in the block, and he'll make a good move and get a basket. That evolution of him being on the offensive end, I think, is going to help as they try to go deeper into the playoffs?
Well, you know, I love the bounce back game of Rudy Gobert. You know, some people cry about situations, some people respond. He did a little bit of both. He shed his emotions out, and then he went out there and pulled out a demonstration, and I think that's going to be his motivation going forward. So he's playing excellent basketball offensively, which you talked about. Defensively, he's been that anchor, but now they're rewarding him on the opposing end also, and that's keeping him excited and engaged.
Yeah, we spoke about the Spurs' current road trip and how difficult it is. Well, counting today's game against San Antonio, the Jazz are in the midst of a 7-game span in which 6 of their opponents are currently playoff bound. Certainly, they have some strong competition coming up next.